President Sisi meets with the top officials to discuss securing petroleum needs for electricity sector. Egypt's foreign minister delivers President Sisi's message to the Kuwaiti Crown Prince, emphasizing strong ties and economic cooperation. Egypt and France discuss coordination on Gaza developments and efforts for a ceasefire. And you're watching the latest updates from Egypt on Qnews, and let's move on to the developments. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has met with the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, Minister of Electricity Mahmoud Ismat, and the Minister of Petroleum Karim Badawi to discuss the government's plan to secure the petroleum product needs of the electricity sector. During the meeting, Sisi directed the government to improve the management and operation of the national gas network to ensure a stable supply to the national electricity grid, as well as to the industrial and service sectors. The President also emphasized the need to accelerate renewable energy projects. The discussion also covered the status of electricity interconnection projects between Egypt and Saudi Arabia, highlighting their importance in strengthening the effectiveness of electrical networks. And to comment on Egypt's new foreign direct investment strategy, we are joined from by the economic expert Mustafa Badra. Welcome to Qnews, Mr. Mustafa. And can I first start off with a question and asking you, what is your opinion on the Egyptian government's efforts to develop clean energy projects in recent times under the direction of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi? Mr. Mustafa, are you there?
There's a very relentless effort made by the Egyptian state since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi took office to modernize the energy capacity, the normal and renewable energy. And as we all know, that the government and the state are making several efforts to develop the energy capacities following the crisis since the events of 2011 of the outage more than one time. Since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi took office, paid a great concern to have a renewable energy to add it to the electricity grid, to invest, to increase the investment that will be benefited by the Egyptian society. What we notice that the Egyptian, along with the government, pursuing to work on several factors such as new and renewable energy, nuclear energy, and establishing several plants and stations, and on top of which Siemens stations. And I think that this improved the economic capabilities as well as the capabilities of energy and the electrical grid in the government.
Mr. Mustafa, how can clean energy projects in Egypt be widely leveraged, and what returns can be gained from them?
Certainly, the more the energy is improved, and I think that could be provided in lower prices compared to their resemblance. And we're talking about the renewable energy that would increase in the movement of investment. And Egypt is pursuing to have several stations or the grids of the wind energy and the solar energy, and such as in Minbab in the Upper Egypt, improving the electricity in the south, that would get optimized by increasing the project, improving the capabilities of operating. And the other thing, to have an increase of new industries and job opportunities. And I think that the government is studying very well to optimize several areas, such as Zafarana and, as I said, Bin Bam stations. And as we all know, that Al Daba stations will be operative during a few years. That could be benefited to increasing the investment and exporting the energy, and which is the main goal.
Mr. Mustafa, I would like to also ask you a question before we wrap up, and that's, what's your view on the electricity interconnection project between Egypt and Saudi Arabia? What do you think?
It is a very important project that Egypt have a very close linkage between Egypt and other states. And as we all know, that it's been agreed between Egypt and Saudi and Jordans have an electricity linkage, and as well as the EU through Greece and several Europe countries. That will be benefited to the investment and improving the operating between Egypt and several countries concerning the electricity linkage.
That was the economic expert Mustafa Badra. Thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa, and thank you so much for your insights. Egypt's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, has delivered a message from President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to the Emir of Kuwait during a meeting with Crown Prince Sheikh Sabah Khalid al-Hamad al-Sabah. In the message, President al-Sisi emphasized the strong historical and brotherly ties between the two nations. Minister Abdelati expressed Egypt's commitment to enhancing economic trade and investment cooperation, noting that the steps Egypt has taken to attract investments and implement its economic reform plan. He also highlighted the potential for leveraging Egyptian expertise in infrastructure projects in Kuwait. Egypt's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, also, and the acting Prime Minister of Kuwait, Sheikh Fahad Yusuf Saud Al Sabah, have discussed the strong historical and fraternal ties between the two nations. Minister Abdelati emphasized Egypt's commitment to strengthening economic trade and investment relations, noting the country's ongoing development and reform efforts despite current global and regional challenges. He also highlighted the importance of empowering the private sector to lead Egypt's economic growth. And Egypt's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, and his French counterpart, Jean-Noël Barrot, have discussed ongoing coordination between Cairo and Paris regarding developments in the Gaza Strip. The two ministers focused on efforts to reduce regional tensions, with the Minister Abdelati outlining Egypt's continued efforts alongside regional and international partners to secure an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, seen as crucial for calming the situation. The joint Egyptian-Saudi training exercise, Piercing Arrow 2024, has concluded with the participation from both the Egyptian and Saudi armed forces. The final phase of the training featured a friendship jump by the Egyptian and Saudi paratroopers. Ground forces and special forces, supported by air forces, carried out an operation to storm and control a terrorist stronghold. The forces also conducted both typical and non-typical shooting exercises, showcasing their precision and skill in hitting targets from fixed positions and while on the move. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has emphasized that the Mbebe Airport Land Development Project is a key initiative aimed at enhancing services in the area. He highlighted that the project, which includes a significant number of residential units, is progressing as planned. During a meeting, the Minister of Housing, Sharif al-Shirbini, presented a report on the project's developments, noting that the residential sector includes 3,100 housing units spread across 158 buildings. Post offices will begin distributing the terms and conditions booklets for reserving units in the Housing for All Egyptians project, starting Tuesday, with the offer running until December the 25th. The Social Housing and Real Estate Finance Fund announced the availability of 87,000 housing units in the Housing for All Egyptians 5 project, located across 16 governorates and 22 new cities, aimed at low and middle income individuals. And the Minister of Health and Population, Khalid Abdel Ghaffar, has inspected the new Heliopolis Hospital construction project during a field tour to monitor national health sector projects. Ministry spokesman Hossein Abdel Ghaffar stated that the hospital spans 42,000 square meters across 4 floors, with an implementation rate of 18% and a total cost of £3.5 billion. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has held a meeting to follow up the ongoing development work surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum, with the attendance of Sharif Fathi, the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, and Sharif al-Shirbini, the Minister of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities. Prime Minister's spokesman, Councillor Mohammed al-Humusani, stated that during the meeting, the status of the project to develop and improve the visual vision of the area surrounding the Grand Egyptian Museum was reviewed, including the implementation of agriculture and lighting works, various civil works, as well as the supply and installation of signboards. And the Minister of Higher Education, Ayman Ashur, and the Minister of Housing, Sharif al-Shirbini, have held a meeting to follow up on the progress of the International University of Alexandria and the new Mansoura University. The Minister Ashur emphasized the Ministry's commitment to the new private university system, including both international private universities and those affiliated with government institutions, in line with the directives of the political leadership. He highlighted the significant contribution of this education model to Egypt's higher education system. And that brings us to the end of our news bulletin, and here's what we've been covering. President al-Sisi meets with the top officials to discuss securing petroleum needs for electricity sector. Egypt's foreign minister delivers President al-Sisi's message to the Kuwaiti Crown Prince, emphasizing strong ties and economic cooperation. Egypt and France discuss coordination on Gaza developments and efforts for a ceasefire. And that was all for now, and remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments.